My name is Lisa. I've met all of you, maybe most of you, I think. So we just thought, because obviously with what's going on, I can't get around to the school so much, and dance obviously is on the curriculum, and I know it's such a challenging thing for some people to even attempt to try and teach it, or you might know a little bit, or so basically what I've tried to do is just go back to the very beginning. You know, you might already teach dance and been doing it for a few years, and some of this might feel like might be teaching how to suck eggs, but for some people, you know, it might be something that they really dread when they have to go and teach it. So I've done a slideshow, so I will be sharing my screen, and I've also I'm going to do a warm-up and things, so if anyone wants to join in, they are welcome to, or just to take notes on it. The slideshow that I have prepared will be available on our members bit in our website, and also I can send it out to you as well. So primarily for today, as I say, it is Beginner's Guide to Teaching Dance, so it will be you know, from the very, very beginning. So there might be some people that have been doing it for a few years, but we can move on from this, I think, once we've got these steps under our belt. This is being recorded for you, for me, and so we can send it on to people who couldn't make it today as well. So thank you for spending your time with me this afternoon. So I'll share with you first. So can everybody see the first slideshow? Can you see where it says Beginner's Guide to Teaching? Okay, is it up? Okay, cool. So basically what I've tried to do is put it down just a matter of fact what it is. So I know you guys, some of you guys who teach in high schools, obviously this bit doesn't appear, it isn't for you, but we will do the Key Stage 3 and 4, because obviously it's probably a little bit more advanced of what you guys will want me to deliver. But for if you haven't taught dance, obviously this is the basic steps. So Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2, I've pulled this from the national curriculum, so obviously you would have seen it before. So let's get started. So counting. Obviously, I don't know how much you do know. Have you all delivered dance? I guess you have had to deliver dance at some point. Dance, when we teach dance, we count in eights. So everything, you know, always is in eights. So what I thought I would do is play some music. It's really hard when you're all on mute to, but you can count with me if you like. So what I've done is I've picked some different tempos of music for you to hear 8, because that is the main thing that will make you feel a lot more confident. Hey, Sarah. Make you feel a lot more confident in dancing the steps, counting the children in. Obviously with games or anything, you know, we say go, or start at a race, we say, you know, ready, steady, go, or 3, 2, 1. And with dance, we use 5, 6, 7, 8 from the good old steps. So always count them in as much as you can, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then all the children will start at the same time. So I've got to play some songs for you. If you can just let me know with a thumbs up whether you can hear it or not, because I've got the stereo back there. All the thumbs, all the thumbs. Okay, so this is, can you hear me? Okay, so this is a fast tempo. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you would count the children in prior to that. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So does that make sense? So that's fast. So that you know, you wouldn't necessarily want to use that straight away for your warm-up, because that is quite fast. Even for jumping on the spot, that would be a quite fast one. I've also gone for some mid ones. If I just go down here, can you hear it? So you would count them in 5, 6, 7, 8. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that was a bit slower. So now a slower one would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So obviously, I chose the beat in there. You could obviously choose to make your dance more advanced or harder and pick up different beats in the song. But to start off, just for yourself to be a lot more confident and for you to, hello, and for you to get used to it yourself, if you can count them in, and if you can count the beats all the time for them and get them used to it as well, then they will be able to pick up the dance so much better and quicker and relate different things, because you could do some arm movements maybe, and then you could go 1, 2, 3, and 3 would be something, you know, that they would need to remember, like a stop or a jump or something. Okay. Yeah, me. No. Thank you. Okay, so I thought we've got some warm-up ideas that I've put down. You probably may already use some of these already. So I've written them down for you that you can then use. So one thing that I really like to do is get them into a really big circle straight away and just get them to run around in the circle. It's really good cardio for them just to warm up. Really, really easy. Gets their heartbeat pumping. So get them to run around in a circle. You can change it up by changing the direction. You can change it to a gallop. You can get them to jog on the spot. You can do all sorts of things with it. And it's really super easy just to get their heart rates up. And then either keep them in the circle or get them all into a space in the room to do your warm up. So I'm going to do a warm up with you. Does anyone want to join in? Can't see everybody on my screen. Can you see me actually now? Josh, you want to join in? Been winding Josh up all day. He's not joining. You don't need to join in. Okay, so what I'm going to do, can you see me? You can see me. Okay, cool. So let me just make myself a bit bigger. Okay, just got the cleaner in here with me. Do you want to say hello?
Hi.
Okay, so let me just see, so I can see you guys too. So just going to do a little bit of a cardio warm-up and just to show you about going through the whole body. Now, I do have a knee injury, so I'm not the best at jumping. So I would go a bit more full out, but I can't at the minute. This is why I needed Bryony as my assistant. Okay, so basically for warm-ups you want something loads of high energy. Spotify, I don't know if you have Spotify, all those different things. You can literally type in the word warm-up and it'll bring up loads of people's playlists on warm-up. Obviously just make sure they haven't got any swear words in them, and then or there's loads of music, royalty-free music that you can use as well, so that's really good to use that. However, I am going to use Head and Heart. Okay, so this type of beat has got a constant sort of fast beat. It's not too fast, it's not too slow. Okay, so if you pick the beat up Everyone want to give a little nod with the beat, so I know that you've got it. Or so that's what you want to keep to. You don't really want anything faster than that, and definitely don't want it slower. So you want that sort of upbeat pop music, okay? I'll just stop a minute. So things like Trolls, the Trolls movie, great. The kids know it. There's great music to dance to. I have put some ideas on that. Also, all the Disney stuff is brilliant. It's for whatever age, you know, little ones to older ones. And yeah, just be careful of all the pop music, because generally today it's got something in it that it shouldn't have. But people like Little Mix, they're really good. Ollie Murs, brilliant. No swear words generally in any of his songs. Okay, so cardio. So first of all, like I say, we would do running around in a circle, change direction, do gallops. We do something called drop and roll. So they're like running around in a circle, and then you say drop, so they literally drop and roll on the floor and then get up again, or jump, drop and roll. So you can just shout commands at them all the time. So this would be after getting their heart rate up, and this would be, then be something that I might do. 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cross the feet. Cross. So that's a really simple, tiny piece of warm-up that you could do with little ones all the way through to big ones. You could just make it last them longer, so you could last for 16. You could cross their feet over. You could use arms, but that simple steps with the feet, you can just build on. Or ask them, they're absolutely brilliant, and they'll say, what about if we put our foot behind, or what about if we gallop to the side, or they're really good, as I am sure you know. So that was a first bit. I'm just going to do another bit for you. So then when you're thinking about warming them up, you want to go basically down from the head down to the toe, and then you can see if you've forgotten anything. So we've sort of warmed up with different marching steps, and then for a head we might do something like this. So isolations, and you could say left, right, down, up. Hold on the side for 2, so you're trying to get your ear down onto your shoulder and not lifting your shoulder up. And then the other side, and then rolling around. I only ever go halfway, don't go all the way around. And warm up the shoulders, so you could do it for 8 counts. Then you could hold onto the shoulders, and then you could do full ones. Then you could go back the other way. Now, if you were teaching older kids, you could do 8, say, of these, and then you could change it to 4s once you've done the whole lot. So you could do 8 shoulders, 8, 8, then you could change it to 4s, 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 2s, 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 okay? Then you've got some isolations, bringing the shoulders up and down. And you could make up a little rhythm, so you could go 2 on their left, 2 on their right, up, up, down, down. You can push their chests forward. You can sort of tell them like they're superheroes. They're pushing their chest forward and then back again, pushing their chest forward and back again. With the older kids, you could then try to get them to do little bits of like rotations with their chest. So it's a bit like someone's pulling on them, and then they're going back round again. Then we're working it down to the hips. So we've done heads, shoulders, chests, and then we can do our hips. So little things like wiggling our hips. You can do isolation. So you'd want to get down a bit further, and you'd want to hit your hips to a certain front, side, back. And then you can also circle that, or put the hands and do really big ones round. And then you've got things like stepping the feet out. Toe taps forward. Sometimes with the little ones I say that we're putting our foot in the pond, so they're just dipping their toe in and then taking it back again. You try and get them to maybe point their toe, stretch out, And with your older ones, start like this, and then you can introduce an arm, or maybe 2 arms. You can do absolutely anything. You could push, or push it completely to the side. It's completely up to you. Then down into some squats. I like to do this and tell them they have to feel a bit of a burn. So basically they need to have their knees turned out with their feet turned out, so you can see my feet, and get down fairly as low as they can. And then we twist our shoulders in to the middle. Okay. Stretching wise, I know lots of people do, when they want to do their stretches, they do them at the beginning of the class, but if you think about it, their bodies are so warm that they do really obviously need to do those at the end of class. And I have, at the very end I'll show you, but I have done, literally all I did was pull them off like yoga for kids. And it's got so many stretches that you can use for the end of class. That's obviously when they'll be really warm and really flexible to increase their flexibility. Okay, so let me see if I can share my screen again. Ooh, can you tell I'm very techie? Okay, so basically that was a bit of a cardio warm up. Then let me just find my page, sorry. So on there, and also you've got loads of ideas. So I put musical statue, plank, Simon Says, hokey cokey. I did hokey cokey with some little kids the other day. They thought it was absolutely amazing. So hokey cokey, crab race, so a bit like being like a bridge, but being able to like travel across the floor. And then also something on there called an exercise circle. So literally in the leader is, what have I put here? Yeah, so a leader goes into the middle and does something, and then everybody else copies. And you can do that in all sorts of ways. You could do it as traveling, you know, put 5 people in a line, and the person at the front of the line does a move, and everybody else, as they're traveling around the room in their line, copies. Or like you say, you can do it in a circle as well. If that makes sense. So, okay, actions. So for actions can be described as the movement of the body that the body makes. Examples of actions are traveling, jumping, turning, gestures, and stillness. And then as the young people develop, they'll be able to perform more complex combinations of these actions. So I've just put down a few, like you guys probably have maybe resource cards, I don't know, that already have things like this on. If not, the internet is literally full of them. Pinterest is brilliant. Twinkle, I know some schools sign up to Twinkle. They have loads of stuff on there as well. But I've just popped down a few things. So these actions, really self-explanatory, but all these will do is help you with everything. So whether it's your warm-up, you know, you can put your skips in a warm-up, your gallops in a warm-up, clapping your hands and doing really big deep squats with it. You know, you can put all that in your warm-up, but also that can make your dance for you. So, you know, if you think, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do now, foot tap. So I mean, as simple as that, you can do a foot tap and then be punching the air with the other arm. So as long as you've got a few moves that you're going to put together at these actions, you can sort of come up with anything. And like I say, you know what the children are like, they're brilliant, aren't they? They'll come up with all sorts, and probably a lot more complex things than we think that they can do. So here's some more different ones here. Like I say, I will share this all with you. If there's anything, if you've got any questions, please do stop me or speak to me or ask me at the end, because I'm sure somebody else has the same question. So these are just sort of ones that I thought are used quite a lot, or you could use quite comfortably. Okay, so sometimes in the lovely curriculum, it comes up with the word motif, and it's always a bit daunting if, you know, I don't know what that word means or how do I use it. So basically it's just 3 or 4 or 5 moves stuck together to create a small piece of dance. So, and this is where your dance can start from, I guess. So if you picked, say, 5 of these moves off these pages and put them together, let me just see. So if we put, let me find the right page. So if we put a forwards, so that could be a step forwards with a clap, and then a hop from the hopscotch, and then say we went into a squat, that would be a motif. Obviously you would develop it a little bit more by maybe, you know, when you go to clap or walk forwards, you might say swing your arms with it, or when you hop, you might decide to push your arms out to the side. You can develop it more and more. But if I just quickly show you me. So for instance, you could go, so just to make that motif, you could go forward, clap. What did I say next? Did I say hop? So you would go forward, clap, hop, squat. So that is just 4 of those moves added together, and you can mix it up and do anything you want with it. So we've got forward, clap, hop, squat. So from there, you might decide to do the same thing facing this way. Forward, clap, hop, squat. So what they've done there is they took those four moves, so they took that motif, and then they just changed it to a different direction. That's quite a short one. You could travel it, so you could have said the forward was actually going to be 4 skips forward, okay, and then you could have added a jump in, or so you can just have all those things that I've put on those pages. You can start to build something, and then whenever you get a bit stuck, just travel the shape, travel the movement, and then just start again. So how you could work that with the children if they wanted to work in some groups is you could teach them that, and they'll learn the steps so much better if you are doing them. So you need to get it cracked so you know what you're doing to be able to teach it, because they'll be able to follow you so much better than just sort of saying hop. You know, they will be able to say, you know, some children work a lot better with it visually, so they can see it. So they would do the forward steps, they would do the clap, the hop and the squat, and then once they've nailed that, if they were say working in partners, you could then say, right, do it facing each other so they mirror each other, or do it back to back, or one of you face the front and one of you face the back doing it. So already you've taken it to the next step. Or you could say, right, I've given you the 4 moves, you now have to do them in a completely different order. So they might do the clap, then the hop, then the forward, then the, what's the other thing, squat, and they'll change it up. And then if you got everybody to do that, and then you ask that group to teach theirs and that group to teach theirs, you've got a little combination then of the same sort of steps but in different orders. And then once you've put in some skipping and some, I don't know, a turn or something, or you've then created, you know, 32 counts or something, and that could be, you know, one of your sessions that you've done. So and also they love repetition. So if you same with the warm up, same with everything, if you try and keep it the same, you know, they can build on it rather than thinking, oh, I did that last week, that warm up. They love it. I do so much corner work, so when I say corner work, I mean literally from the corner, they'll do something that travels across the floor. So even if it's skipping, with the older ones, it might be like a side gallop. So just in case you don't know what I mean. So just literally galloping down the floor. They just love it. Like in 2s, if they're not very confident, in 1s, if you've got loads of time, or you want to be able to critique them, and then you can change it up. So I would always start with gallops, saying down the you know, from top corner down to the bottom corner, facing one way. And then once they've mastered that, get them to go to the other corner and then do it the other way, starting on the other leg, because obviously sometimes children can go off on their right leg, but then when they'd have to go from the other corner to go off on their left leg, they would really struggle putting their feet in and out together. So they really need to be able to develop it on both sides. Once they've done that, you'll have some children obviously be able to do it straight away. Once you've done that, you can then change it up. So again, with your counting, you would go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Now that's quite hard, but with the older kids, they would probably be able to master it. And maybe, you know, it's just little steps, isn't it, to get them to progress. So you've got things, so that's your warm up or combination. So I generally do a bit of a warm up, then I do combinations, but that can also obviously be added into those motifs that I was talking about as well. So I'm going to share my screen again if I find it. Okay, so these are those dance actions. So like I said, you can put them, use any of these for anything. You know, you can, or literally a made up dance if you wanted it to be. Okay. Okay, so this is what I was talking about with the motifs. So demonstrate to them a small number of actions and get them to copy you. Ask a small number of children to come to the front of the class and demonstrate their own actions and the class copy them. So this is just sort of a development on that you could do. So they've mastered your 4 moves and you could put them into groups of 4, say, and say, right, now you come up with your 4 moves. And then whoever's confident, you know, you could bring each group to the front and everybody else then copies their 4 moves. And that's a brilliant way to, you know, their confidence up. You'll see their creativity. You can steal moves off the kids because like I say, they do come up with some really, really good stuff. It doesn't have to be to music, but sometimes I find that if you do put some music on, it's obviously gives them a little bit more of an inspiration to come up with some different ideas for it. Yeah, and then you could also watch like dance related videos and then ask them to come up with moves that they saw in it, and then they can pick out, you know, oh, she put her arms up like a high V, or they cross their arms on their chest and then they put them on their hips, and they can come up with the different actions that they see. So like I said, there's no like wrong or right in it. I think this is what I was talking about earlier as well as one of the warm-up games. So this is another dance actions, it's a snowball game. So they stand in a circle. One child would I don't know, do a star jump, maybe jumping jack, and then round the circle, so like a cannon, what we call it in dance, where it goes 1 by 1 by 1 by 1. Each child would then copy, and then as it gets back to that person who started the jumping jack, the next person would then have thought of their move, and then it would go round, so it snowballs round. And follow the leader is the one I talked about before, where you have the leader choose a move and then everybody else follows it, and then you can bring the person from the back to the front, or the person at the front goes to the back, and then they can pick the move and then everybody else copies it. Okay, so music, I guess with schools it is quite hard, and obviously with your schemes of work, you know, you might have to come up with something where you think, oh my goodness, how am I gonna, you know, do a dance about, I don't know, Anglo-Saxons or something. But literally the World Wide Web is amazing at what it can help you come up with. So Google is your best friend. I'm sure that you obviously use it with everything, but with dance it's exactly the same too. Like there's just so many, you know, even if you type in Anglo-Saxon music dance ideas, you know, some can come up to help you. So I'm just going to go back to that again. So the best way to, I think originally for you to get involved, for you to get on board with it and for the kids to get on board with it, is to have the song that's familiar to you. You're going to listen to it for weeks and weeks, I guess, maybe if you're in a 6 or 8 week block of, or even 12 weeks of dance that you've got to do. And if you're working towards maybe a Christmas production or a performance, or maybe even nothing, you do need to be able to want to listen to that song. So sometimes something that, you know, you might want to use, like, oh, it's a really, you know, cool song, you love listening to it on the radio, you'll then hate because you've listened to it for like 8 weeks on the trot. So just make sure when you pick something, I always pick songs, when I listen to it, you just sort of know straight away whether you can hear dance in it some way. You know, the bridges in music or the chorus, sometimes you can think, oh yeah, I can see the kids all running over to a point, or I can see it going slow and they'll all go on the floor, or just listen to it over and over, because if you like the song, you're obviously going to be able to choreograph and be a lot more confident with it. But like I was saying earlier with the warm-ups, it is hard to find songs nowadays that are clean. So there are the royalty-free options, which we'll put some links to. The Now albums, I'm 99% sure, don't have anything naughty on them. And then also for the little ones, the Kids Bop, so K-I-D-Z, Kids Bop albums, where the kids sing the songs. Sometimes they're a bit whiny, but they don't sing anything that they shouldn't. So yeah, music, that's your thing that you need to get the kids hooked onto, and yourself, because like I say, you have to listen to it forever. So plan it and be just prepared. You know, feel a bit confident, like especially if they're 5, 6, 7. You know, they just live off your whatever you say. So as long as you think you know what you're talking about, you know, you can get away with half of it. Always count them in. When you're going to start your dance, I would suggest starting it in unison, so they're all doing exactly the same thing at the same time, until maybe weeks on, or maybe you get more confident, or if you have an advanced set of kids or they're older children, where you think, you know, they can start off doing different things. But I would just say, for, you know, if you're feeling not so confident, or they're a group of children who might need to follow each other, to start the dance all together. So you can count them in together, and you can you know, put your leaders at the front who you think are good for everybody else to follow, and just start them in unison. Use those gestures, use those actions off those other pages, or other things that you might know, and just start linking them together. And use the lyrics. You know, if there's something in the lyrics that said hide, you know, why not like hide your eyes? Or if there's a bit in it where they stick their arms out, for instance, you know, you could label the move. So you could say aeroplane, aeroplane arms, and so they would, you know, they might miss all the steps before it, but I guarantee you that they will hit those arms out on aeroplane arms. Or, you know, heart on your across your chest, things like that, or crazy, and you could do something like that. They link those words, and you will too, and then slowly they'll be able to add all the moves around it, all the adjoining moves around it. So use words, don't be afraid to use words when you're trying to develop your dance, as well as counting. And then just use different ways to explore those steps as well. So, you know, you might learn everything on the spot. Our motif that I just showed you then, with those 4 simple moves, you know, once they've got that, and they might grasp it really, really quickly, most of them, then travel it, you know, gallop it to the side, or take it to the floor, or once you feel a bit more confident, you can have half the class doing those steps that I did, and then the other half of the class doing exactly the same steps, but maybe on their knees. And then when it was the squat, they would drop to the floor. So just using different levels. And like I before said, mirror. So, you know, when you have, you know, what they call a dance off. So you could literally do your choreography. So you could do it all facing the front, and then you could half the class so they face each other, and then this lot would do it to them, and this lot would do it to them. So then you've got opposites, which makes their brains work as well. So yeah, so I've just put on here, really easy, just, I don't like it when I can't see you. Let me unshare my screen. So I've just put a simple thing like waving your arms. So waving your arms, but then you could change the tempo. So rather than going 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So already that one movement can be used for all different things. And just because the music is going slow, you don't necessarily have to go super slow with it. That's then where it becomes a bit more advanced, and that you can use different sounds or rhythms in the music. And then also to develop it, you could, so I've just done this, but then I could do this, so we could make it bigger. So I call these rainbow arms. And then you could do something like this. So all different things. So it's just my arm movement, or you can change it to 1, and you could add in 2, and then you could go to the knee, So it's all one movement, but there's just so many different ways to execute it, I guess. That's just arms. You know, you could do those arms and then say, right, but on that, you're going to jump your feet out, or you're going to travel 8 counts galloping over to that way. Okay, so am I making any sense? Brian's like, yes. I'm picking on you. Okay, so that was just a little explanation of that. And then repeat, repeat, repeat. So I've taught all sorts of children of all different ages, but they love to do the same thing. And for me, I sometimes think, oh, I can't do that. They've been doing that dance for ages, or we've gone over that bit for ages. And then if you don't do it one week, they're like, oh, we're not doing this bit. Like, they absolutely love to go over something that they already know. Like, I might have taught a dance like 4 years ago, and someone will come up to me and say, please, can we do the I don't know, Lady Gaga dance? And I'll be like, can you still remember it? Like, it was 4 years ago. And they're like, yeah, of course we can. And they love it. And because they've owned it, and they you know, they practice at home. So don't be afraid to repeat what you've been doing, because they'll love that. And obviously it's brilliant for their muscle memory and all that to then move on to do more difficult things. I've talked about partner work. When you're teaching them dance, sometimes the music can be a distraction, but it's also sometimes they will need it to be able to execute the moves properly. So don't be afraid to like turn the music off and go back to your counts, or put the music back on, let them have a little play with it, and then dance and do it all together collectively as a class again, because it helps some children a lot to have it on and others not. So make sure you practice it always either way, with music and without music. And then filming it. I'm terrible. I mean, I do travel around a million schools, teaching different dances. So sometimes my brain is not the best when I go back to a school at remembering what I did the week before. However, filming it, you know, in other parts of, you know, your work that you do is brilliant for you to remember it, but also for them to watch themselves back. But, you know, half the time you can, even me, you know, even some of the older dancers who are a bit more advanced, think they're doing the moves, and then they watch it back and go, oh, I'm not even doing it properly, or they can see what it looks like as a whole. Because sometimes I think, especially with the older kids, they don't believe in it themselves, believe in what it looks like, and then until they watch it back, they'll be like, oh, actually we look pretty good. I think especially with high school children, or they'll see that they're not making that much of an effort and really they could make a bit more. So I think filming and getting them to watch it is definitely a good tool to have. And then performing it half and half. So the same reasons really. Take them into two groups, or however, don't know, if you've got 30 in your class, you know, you could break it down into 8s or 5s or whatever, or half and half, and get them to watch each other and to critique each other, but to critique the group rather than, you know, don't pick their best friend and say, oh, I really loved how Joe did that, but Joe's their best friend. You know, just get them to say, you know, no names allowed, but tell me something that they could work on, or tell me something that was absolutely brilliant. And that really, really helps them boost their confidence, see where they're doing things wrong. And then that group that is sitting on the floor, I always get them to clap. So it is a bit like a performance. Get them to swap rounds, and obviously they can then, the guys that were sitting on the floor can then learn from what was already said, and then the children who are then sitting on the floor can then see the reason. So that's a really, really good tool to help them remember it, give them a bit more confidence, make them work a bit harder, that sort of thing. And then sometimes, you know, people do surprise you. Like, you might have someone who's really, really quiet, but just will excel in it. And if they want to come out and do a solo or show the dance, then I just think you should always let them, as much as you can, show the moves, because it just, it's all about the confidence. It really, really is, to get them to get better. And then the last thing is with the cool down. So obviously after a dance class, it's crazy, you know, if they've been hyped up through doing this energetic dance to, I don't know, something from Hairspray or something, you know, they are hyped up. So just try and calm and cool them down. So it's really simple. You probably do it already, a lot of you. Literally just get them to lay on the floor and listen to their breathing, and or walk around the space. And then on this last slide is where I've put all these yoga stretches. So there's easier ones and harder ones, but I just thought I'd show you some pictures, because they're all brilliant for their flexibility, and they should be so warm by the time that they've finished with you. And if you get them to hold them for 10 or 20 seconds, like I've put on there, that will increase their flexibility. So I know we're not at school, not necessarily asking them to be able to do the splits or anything like that, but it's just, you know, if they can master some of these, they'll think it's great. And they go home, and I say to them sometimes, you know, when you're sitting reading your book, trying to find one, I don't know if it's on here. You know, it's labelled as a flower on here, but I know it's a butterfly stretch, you know, where they're sitting the soles of their feet together. I say, sit and read your book like that at home. You know, that will really help. Or you see the one, it's a bit like a scorpion where she's got her head touching her toes. Like, they love that one. Just to, and they'll come back and go, I can nearly touch my head. And so they're really good. Like, even if you printed them off, I mean, you might have them up on your walls anyway, but they're great stretches for the end of class to cool them down and make sure they are getting super flexible at the same time. So I've just done these. So I don't know, some of you, if you follow schemes, I know there's like that Valsabin, which is like really, really old school dance that some schools bought into. I know we have another option of lesson plans and things that you can buy into, which is a much better upgraded option now. But also I'm going to do our own ones. So if you bear with me, I'm going to try and do as many as I can. So I started off with Key Stage 1, so I've done 2 different Key Stage 1. So basically, you know, your lesson plan for you. And it's not wrong, none of it would be wrong. So if you went by the lesson plan and went by the numbers, and you didn't really completely understand what I've written, it doesn't really matter. You know, it's just a basic idea that you could make into your own. So I did a robot one, because everyone seems to do robots. And then I just did a typical pop dance. It's really easy. So these are Key Stage 1. So next week I'm going to do some Key Stage 2. And then I'll do some Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4 as well. And then I'll just try and keep adding to them. And if you've got something specific that you have to cover on the curriculum that you're dreading, you know, pop me a message or whatever, and then I'll see if I can do one specifically for that, because obviously it will help others as well. I hope I've helped. It's hard on a Zoom to get as much across, because in the olden days when we were allowed to actually meet, I did hold some CPDs here, and we had loads of teachers come along. It was a bit of a giggle and a bit of a dance class really, but it was good to get you guys moving. Whereas on here, I know you're a little bit reluctant probably to get up and dance. However, once I send you all this information, and it's on our website, and you've got time to go through it, I hope that it becomes a little bit clearer, and you can start to put some bits and pieces together to be more comfortable in teaching some stuff. And then I think from here, what we said we'll do is, now this is sort of the basics covered and it's written down, that then we'll do the next step up. So I'm not saying just high schools, because some children can do all sorts of things, these, you know, but we'll do a little bit of a harder version, but I do think maybe you have to join in for those ones. So I hope that's helped. Has anyone got any questions? You're all going to go, no. Because that's what it's like, isn't it, when you ask a class of questions and no one goes, oh, he has got a question, yes. Yes, Urko.
Yes. When are you going to leave this so we can download all the...
John, is John sitting there? John, he's not. He'll put it on. So it's prepared. It's done. So literally tomorrow, maybe you can go on.
But in your webpage, in the NSSP webpage.
Yeah, I'll get John to put it on straight away. Yeah.
Okay.
But I can also email it across, and then it's I do it on Canva. But this is obviously like a PowerPoint, so if you send it across, and then you can print it off or send it around to everybody and highlight what you want to, and then hopefully it'll make a bit more sense when it starts to sink in. Is that okay?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Cool. Anyone else? I don't know if I can see everybody. Well, thank you for joining. I hope you've got some stuff out of it. I know it's a lot to take in because I'm just literally talked at you for about 50 minutes. But hopefully when you, like I say, when you read it, you'll be able to digest it a little bit more and put some music on, have a boogie in your kitchen and count. Counting is the thing that will help you. You need to count. That's like my closing statement. But thank you very much.
Thanks, Lisa.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your dinner.
Same.
Bye. Thank you.
Cheers, bye.
Bye.